All right, all right. Hold on one second, y'all, because it's not showing on my page. Sometimes we have a little technical difficulties. Let me refresh. Okay, here we go. And let me make sure it's showing for. Do y'all see it on my page? Because I don't know why sometimes it comes up as private.
Oh,
Okay, there
I
we
see
are.
you.
yeah.
All righty. All right. Hey, everybody. I am Sandra Brooks, and we are back with another episode of the Round Table. I have with me my crazy co host, Leonardo Garcia.
How's everybody doing?
And we have but two special guests. We have brought back Agent Jig, known as the Final Expense Wizard. And we have a first timer guest, Rusty Westfall. Before I let them introduce themselves, I want y'all to do me a favor. If you are watching, make sure that you like this live and share it, okay? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go and subscribe so that you don't miss any notifications when we go live. All right, so let's start with our newest guest. I'll let you introduce yourself, Rusty.
Rusty Westfall out of St. Louis on the Illinois side, not on the Missouri side.
Oh wow,
yeah, yeah,
I
that's
don't know what
it.
that
All
means.
right, that's
You
for
have
that.
to clarify.
That's a
It's
great
a St. Louis.
introduction.
Everybody's like St. Louis, Missouri. Well, actually, technically, I'm 25 minutes on the Illinois side from downtown St. Louis. But no, so let me be a little bit more thorough. Been in St. Louis since 1999 by way of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm an Okie from Tulsa, not Muskogee. There you have it. And go Sooners, boys. So I've been in the field of insurance for 21.8 years, to be specific. I officially started my career when I was 28 years old and started back January of 2003. The overwhelming majority of my career has been both final expense in captive settings. But that is no more. And a little over a year ago, took that leap of faith in order to best serve people. And you can't do that with one singular company and one singular product. And no longer leaving families in a better position, but leaving families in the best position possible, which is our mission statement.
I love it. I love it. All right, Jig. Tell people who you
Hey,
are.
you know, Agent Jig. I don't know what else to say. If you guys saw last week's what episode 2 weeks ago, yeah, we had some fun on the show. Um, I'm an Indian guy, if you can't see. Been in the insurance industry 11 years now. I can't see myself doing anything else. Just want to help agents all over the place.
That's
There you
what's
go.
up.
There you go.
You know, Jig,
Leonardo.
I always feel like you're looking down on me. I just,
I'm not looking down on
Where is
anybody,
it going
man.
to start
oh,
coming from? All right, where is
I got jokes, guys. I got jokes. I'm here
Yeah.
all
There
day,
ain't nothing wrong with
or at
that.
least for the next 30 minutes.
Go ahead, Leo.
Oh, well, everybody knows who I am. My name is Leo
Everybody, we might
Garcia.
have new viewers.
My name is Leonardo Garcia. I am an insurance agent. I am the CEO of Dynasty Legacy Group and your fabulous co-host of the Round Table. And we're gonna have fun today, guys. I hope you guys are ready. We're gonna just ask some good questions. I'm fired up. I'm fired up, Sonya. Go ahead, take it. You're the one, the Williams of this thing. Take it, girl.
So y'all already know how I am. I'm very excited about people wanting to be part of my show. And without them, it wouldn't be successful because we need other people's input and other people's experience in order to, educate people properly, not just on one thing. So between Jig and Rusty and Leo, they all have more experience in this game than I do. And so tonight we're going to start the topic off with talking about longevity. I mean, they have 20 plus years in the game. um, we're going to talk some statistics as far as like how many people out of people that get licensed, the percentage of them that last however long and what we feel like it takes based on experience and, some whatever. So we're just going to talk. If y'all have questions, post them in the comments. We're going to answer them. Don't be shy. I'm not scared to ask anything, and I don't think anybody up here is afraid to answer. So let's go. Who?
Sonia, with that being said, one of my most favorite Chinese proverbs of all time is he who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes, but he who never asks a question is a fool forever. So if you have a question, just freaking ask it so you know.
Ooh,
I love it. I love it.
coming out the gate.
I
Go.
didn't, I didn't pop my bottle for tonight, so I'm not sipping anything.
Wow.
I
So
mean,
Rusty, I know you've been with, I think we all except for Leo
Come on,
maybe has
Leo. Let's
experience
drink.
with,
Cheers.
look, I'm drink my H2O.
All right,
I'm sorry.
So
I'm not somebody from the
we all
bar, so I gotta be
hydrated.
careful.
We ready to
right.
have some fun. We already having some fun.
That's it.
It's
Funny
just
story, y'all. I reached out to both of these guys separately, and they both was like, "Oh yeah, I know that person. I've been trying to get up with this person for a while." So bringing two people together that are familiar with each other, that makes it even better. So, um, longevity, man. First, let me ask you guys: before you got into insurance, did you know you was going to do insurance? A lot of people fall into this industry by mistake. Like just being honest. So let's start with Rusty.
I think the only people who know that they're going to pursue a career in insurance are the ones who has a family, primarily a mother or father who's already actively selling life insurance of some facet. Outside of that, anybody who doesn't have family members or close personal friends that are in the field of insurance, nobody thinks, hey, when I grow up, I want to sell life insurance or any kind of insurance. Said nobody ever, especially in high school and college. My story is again, I started this industry in my late 20s, right before I turned 29. And anybody, if you can watch, if you go to my channel, Rusty Westfall, just do a search and you'll find me there. It's not too hard. There's one of the original videos is I'm loading that channel with content, but the very first video that I uploaded on there is a quick bio on myself that's 57 minutes long. So that way people can really know
Not a quick
who
bio.
who this guy is that's posting all this content, like he knows something. So I basically literally share my story even prior to insurance. And I'm a junior college dropout, very proud of that. I lowered the bar when it comes to college dropouts. I am a JUCO college dropout, been on my own since I was 19, and just know people. I was raised in a family-owned business where my mother owned and operated what ended up turning out to be one of the largest upholstery and fabric centers of the central and eastern part of Oklahoma. So, exposed as a business owner, and working with customers and employees at a very young age. And so once I was on my own, that's what I knew. Was I knew people, and it just made sense to transition a career into retail management, and I did exceptionally well. But as I share my story in that video, it didn't take me 30, 40, 50 years to realize that this whole retail restaurant management, hourly, salary, wage is for the freaking birds. Because when you're a top performer and you take, like, as an example, you take a store that's in the top 10 worst performing stores out of 400, and within 6 months, you turn it into one of the top 10 most performing or profitable stores, and your paycheck's still the same,
Mm.
there's a problem. Especially when you're putting in about 70, 80, 90. Your reward for a job well done outside of breadcrumbs called the bonus is you get to keep your job. But then what they want to do is they want to raise the quota. They want to raise the requirements. They want you to perform 15% better than the past month. And it's not what have you done for me, it's what have you done for me lately.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
halfway through my 20s of, robbing from Peter to pay Paul and tired of being broke and sick and tired of being sick and tired of that whole thing, I was basically selling gym memberships because I was a gym rat back in those days. And a year and a half later is how I was introduced into this opportunity. Now, real quick, I don't want to take up the whole 30 minutes myself, but this is really important. The gym that I was working at that time that this business was introduced to me, was in the ritzy part of St. Louis, over a suburb called Town and Country. Okay, that's where all the rich people live. And so as I'm working as a fitness counselor or selling memberships. Anybody who would come in there and buy a lifetime membership, I was working for 24-hour fitness at that time, and they offered lifetime memberships. We're talking about 3 or 4 grand. And then I would sell them 20, 30 sessions of personal training on top of that. And these people would just whip out that American Express card without batting an eye. I'm like, yeah. Of course, you're thinking of your own pocketbooks. Like, golly, man, that'd be great to be able to afford something like that and not even think about it. What do you do
Right.
for a living, sir? What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? Here's what I found. There's the majority of these people who lived in that area came in the gym and threw it around thousands of dollars like it was nothing, were in sales. And the
Mm.
majority of those people that were in sales, I later found out that they were in insurance sales of some facet. Why? Because of that passive income. And that's what really started catching my attention, because back when I was 18, 19 years old, after a few really bad experiences of working in a commission only sales job, I told myself at 19, I will never do sales ever again. I want that guarantee. Yeah, guaranteed to always hit your head on a ceiling and never
Right.
get paid more than what you're worth. But
Right.
that was
Right.
then and that was later. So anyway, I thought for anybody watching this and considering a career in insurance sales of some sort, but concerned about that commission only thing and wanting that guarantee, the only guarantee you will ever have in an hourly wage or a salaried type of wage position is that you will never get paid what you're worth, period.
And that's exactly right. I just posted about that today. Let me just shout out a few people that's watching that I can see that's commented. Hey, Natasha. Hey, Maria. Hey, Sakira. If y'all are watching, y'all make sure y'all post where y'all watching from. That way I can know, where y'all calling from. We're not calling, but watching from. So you, just to wrap that up, you said you didn't see yourself, doing it, but you kind of fell into it from watching and being around other people that were in sales, and you quickly fostered that philosophy and took advantage of it. Jig, how did
Absolutely.
you get started? How did
Jig,
So
you get
I got started. My story was crazy because I actually came home off a quick 49 days behind bars. And
started?
yeah, and I was working a dead-end job again in restaurants. My background was just in restaurants and just regular guaranteed money. It wasn't working for me to be able to feed my family. So at the time, I lost my job and then I broke my leg, and I just kept on thinking, poor me. It was for me. It was actually things that were happening for me, because at that time when I broke my leg, someone that I knew was working at Senior Life Insurance Company, and they told me, hey, well, don't worry, just get your license and you can sell right from home. With my cast on, I thought, what an amazing opportunity. So I went and got my license, got everything from the course to licensed by the state of Pennsylvania in like 11 days total. And you know, the phones initially weren't for me, but
Mm-hmm.
the conversation was about longevity. It's about really believing in yourself. Sales is not for the weak of heart.
Right.
Sales is, again, you have to have champions around you, people that are going to champion you, because there's going to be days that you come home getting beaten up, and you have your tail between your legs. And if you don't have someone at home or people around you that's going to champion you and make you, feel like next day you're going to get it, and the next day you're going to get it, it's going to be difficult already, because the people that are next to you are going to be putting the wrong messages in your head. You
Right.
know, my iPad, the insurance toolkit is not just telling me the quotes off the bat. They had to program that into that insurance toolkit system so that when I put all these medications in there, it's popping up the carriers that is going to be accepted. Same thing. If I'm putting those messages in my head, I'm going to already be telling myself all the reasons why I can't make it happen and I can't make it work. And that's why 92% historically
Uh-oh.
fail. 92% of the people that do this historically fail. Why? Because they don't get past the first year.
yep, you got it.
Most,
There go the stats.
right. Most folks that actually make it long term have been in it 2 years or more. That 2 year, it's a wrap. You're not going to do
Right.
anything else if you're doing this. I mean, and actually, not just having your license, because there's a lot of pretenders. The fake it till you make it. We talked about that, but a lot of
Right.
pretenders in the game, right? And if they're just having their license and keeping it renewed for the 2, 3 policies that they write, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking
Mm.
about the full-time agents. If they're doing it for 2 years plus, they're not going to do anything else. Because
Right.
I mean, look at me. I just keep adding different lines. I just
Right.
keep adding more value to my personal lines. But again, longevity is the belief in yourself. Being able to make it, that lasting factor has to come, being able to make it, having the right people around you, instead of like for anyone listening, instead of you interviewing for an insurance job, maybe it should be the other way around. You should be interviewing who you should actually put your license with,
That's
Okay,
right?
right.
that's
I like
interesting.
that.
And there's a reason for that, because again, captive situations may be right for certain people, right? They might have certain things that may be better for a specific agent. A LOA system may be better for a specific agent because they're going to give an agent a 50 or 60% contract, but give them value in other ways, like mandatory meetings,
Wait,
which,
wait, wait.
you know,
But that's a bad LOA. Timeout. Stop. Flag on the play. I don't know why LOA you're talking about
I,
50
I,
and 60.
I agree. I agree. But what I'm trying to
Flag.
explain, I agree. Listen, I would never take anything under triple digits. But here's the thing, for someone that's just coming into the business, you know, 9 times out of 10, what are the things that we hear? Oh, I can't spend $700 on leads. I can't do this. All the reasons that they can't spend money. Now, the funny thing is, if you look at my posts, I put, oh my God, I can't believe this company is making people spend $150 or $100 to get started, right? I agree with what I posted, right? Because 90% of the independent carriers that we work with, they don't make you pay $100 just to get your own background and vector check. They're gonna do the vector, and if they don't want to, they don't want to contract you. That's gonna be on them. But to make a poor agent, I remember how broke I was coming into the game.
Yeah, you come into this game either broke or broken. Broke or broken.
That's
Or
Look at
both.
you. You came with a broken leg. So I got a question for you with that. I got a
yeah,
question with that. You came broke and broken. Look at that. Physically broken. I got a question
bro.
for you. So your first company was Senior Life. I don't know
Yes,
how every time you come here, we get onto this. How do you know Rusty? Because you guys before, obviously the
senior
recording
life.
doesn't show, but you guys were a little too mingly, like you know each other. How this happen?
Funny story. Look, so senior life, mutual respect. So Rusty was at senior life when I was there with Shane Burns and whatnot. So when I left senior life, it was it was a crazy time. I actually wanted to keep that contract in my portfolio and then just add everything else to, be more valuable to my clients and really make it my business and just do the best. But now I lost that senior life contract. So years later, and this is before we could get someone a GI under 45.
Mm.
I think it was either I reached out to Rusty, Rusty reached out to you, something. It was a joke on Facebook. Oh, I can't get contracted. I'm blacklisted. He told me, man, I bet you I can get it done. But I was blacklisted from the top. And we couldn't I even tried to recontract. I was recontracted and then they terminated me. And again, it was only for the 2 or 3 contracts that I would write per year. I was still referring business to other agents. I'm not going to name the agents' names.
I wouldn't say they terminated you. He terminated you without
Wait,
speaking
timeout.
personally.
Whoa,
Who is
Rusty.
he?
Rusty, wait, Rusty, flag on the play. I need to hear from you because we know Jake's story. He was here 2 episodes ago. You started in senior life as well?
Kind of. So I
What the
officially
hell does
started with
that
a company called,
mean?
well, so from November of 2003 to, excuse me, January 2003 to November of that same year, 11 months, I was with a small little agency selling for guarantee reserve. Okay. I was recruited from a gentleman who was a shareholder back in '03 to come on board with this new company, hire a contractor response. So anyway, where I was at was just a personal producer. This agency did not want or encourage agents to build a team of their own. So I learned early on that where I was at was just going to be a personal producer, but I was okay with that because I wanted to get my feet wet and get experience, which I did. And I was one of the few people who literally hit the ground running. My first week of production, and this is an urban legend, but my first week of production, I submitted over $8,000 worth of premium. That was in '03, and I was the first person in 82-year company history to do that their very first week. And it won me this big blue jacket. It was a blue jacket award when you submit $8,000 worth of premium. The jacket, I wear about a size 42, 43. The jacket was about a 52, so it's like a blanket on me, but it's still a trophy, and I still have that thing till this day. So
They
I came
didn't
on board.
customize it to your
So
size.
no, it wasn't customized. So I came on board with Senior Life, started with them November 2003, and really Senior Life was a brand new company. The story
Hmm.
goes like this: it was in '99 when the pals bought out. The name.
Was it Golden Memorial?
No, not Golden Memorial. Holy cow! I've shared this story a million times. Anyway,
You said that they were.
they bought out an old company
Oh,
that dates
yeah,
back
to
to
start Senior Life.
1972, changed the name in 2000 to Senior Life. And so in 2000, it was basically a brand new company being owned and operated by two final expense guys that are master recruiters. That's really what it was. So in '03, the company really only been around for 3 years, and they were still going through this massive learning curve. Well, me being a brand new agent, I didn't know any better. So, I'm writing all this Senior Life business, and I qualified and was inducted in the Senior Life Rolex Club my very first year with Senior Life Insurance in 2004. So I'm an OG back with that company. So when you look at that plaque, the Senior Life Rolex Club, I'm like one of the first ones that was inducted into, and it's still one of the biggest achievements, one of my proudest moments in my career was, qualifying for that and being awarded a nice Rolex watch. But about 2 years later, I ran into a case that I couldn't write with Senior Life. And I remember when I turned in my book of business, because back then we didn't have electronic applications, just like we didn't have smartphones and GPSs, right? So I'm turning in my book of business. We had our raw meeting. I was telling Ed, I said, well, it would have been 5,000, but I couldn't write this one case. He's like, what are you talking about? Short of the story is, he's like, go ahead and write at Lincoln. I'm like, Lincoln? This is in '04 or '05. He said, yeah, you can go ahead and write at Lincoln, this Lincoln Heritage. Well, back then, if you were a part of Senior Life Insurance, you were duly appointed. There was a relationship that still existed with Senior Life and Lincoln Heritage.
Wow.
That's
That
crazy.
separation didn't
Wow,
occur.
even
So
Jig's face is like, whoa.
Yeah, I learned
well,
that from watching his video. I had no idea because I know the story is like Lincoln Heritage pretty much funded to start Senior Life, right?
kind of, yeah. I don't want to get too much into it, and yeah. But the point is, in
We
2009
gonna
is
get
when
into it.
there was between a lot of shenanigans that was occurring on one side,
Hmm.
and with one side building up and surviving, and not everybody thinking they're going to make it. Lincoln drew the line in the sand and said, "Okay, what team do you want to be on? Because you're not going to be on both." And I was one of those guys where I'm. So anyway, hey, I said Lincoln. He's like, "Yeah, you're appointed with Lincoln too." Because all I knew was Senior Life, Senior Life, Senior Life. So that's all I wrote. And he reminded me that I did get appointed with this Lincoln Heritage Company. Then he showed me how to figure premiums because you had to calculate premiums manually on your calculator. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess
Wow.
I'll go out there and write it. So I went back out to that client, wrote a Lincoln Heritage policy. Thing got processed, thing got issued right away. I got paid right away. I got all these reports, and it didn't take me very long to learn. This was back then, though, that this Lincoln Heritage Company was superior to Senior Life in every way, shape, matter, or form. That was back then.
Mm.
Okay, now
Whoa.
Senior Life's come a long way since then. So I got to a point where I could no longer justify writing Senior Life business in 2005
And
because
we all
Lincoln
got
had
to
better
that point.
products, better underwriting, better rates. They had just a better system. So I stopped writing senior to best serve my clients, and it made more sense for me. Eventually, my contract terminated for non production with senior. In
Okay.
'07 and '08, I went into financial services. I got my securities license, the 7, the 63, the 66, the health license. And I went into that arena. We all know what happened in 2008. Literally had my butt handed to me. So I came back to final expense after about a year and a half with a huge renewed appreciation for the simplicity and the opportunity that I always had in front of me, unbeknownst to me at that time. When you go from final expense into financial services into that arena, it is a whole different universe
Yes.
altogether. And my income went way down. So when I say I came back with a huge renewed appreciation, I did. And my first month back, I issued $30,000. That was September of 2008,
Okay.
and I came back to Lincoln. So I was with Lincoln up until 2016. I've always been on good terms with the Powell family, and still till this day, I'm on good terms with them. So
So you know
Ron,
you're
every
gonna go
every
back
once
to
in a while,
that.
I'd be like, Rusty, when you coming back? Rusty, when you coming back? Come on now, we're doing
Rusty,
some
wait.
great
You
things.
gotta give me a timeout there because I did some a little bit of research on you, and you're dropping some news. We went in with Jake last time. I gotta ask this. You see, I know some of the story of Senior Life. I worked there for a while, but I don't know the history the way you do, and I'm gonna peek. I'm gonna have to pick your brain on this one. So it was both Powells that ran it, right?
Yeah,
When
Ron
I
and
got
Dale.
there, it
Prior,
wasn't.
prior, prior to Senior Life, when they were with Lincoln Heritage, the name of their agency was P&P Agency, Powell and
Yeah,
Powell.
that I heard Powell and Powell.
Okay.
So what happened to Senior Life where's one Powell? Were you there for that
So
story? I'm
yeah,
not sure.
yeah. So Mr. Powell, Dale Senior was voted off the board. Um, I don't know all the logistics behind it because I was not obviously not a part
Wow.
of that, but I do know this. I speculated it and I saw it that I think Dale just he up to an age in his young 70s, and from what I understand, according to Ron, because I did talk to Ron about this at one point, to where when he told me the story and how they ended up going to a vote and the board as a whole voted him off, is because Dale just thought that they had, um, grown as big and done as much as Senior Life possibly could. Where Ron is thinking billion, Dale's thinking, I think we've hit our limit.
Mm.
And he kind of showed that too. He was just kind of going through the motions. He loved what he did, and I think still does. Missed it, but that's what happened. Was he was just eventually voted off the
Wow.
board, and he was removed from the company that he started.
That's
Wow.
that's a good point to go back to what the topic is about longevity. So they pretty much voted him off because they feel like he kind of just aged out. He wasn't going to be able to take the company to the next level.
That is exactly
With
correct.
you and Jig being in the industry for so long, you too, Leo. You've been, you old. Not old. Sorry, that
Hey,
was an
Jake, what's
insider.
up?
That was an insider. We had a conversation before we went live. He's not old, y'all. It was
Yeah,
him.
he took a
But
swig.
he took a swig on
Water's
it.
not in that either.
But I am the youngest in the bunch. So, but being that y'all all have more experience in the game, 20 plus years is that says a lot. So when you first got in the industry, and you decided to keep going, what are some of the major changes that you see other than the obvious of, everybody having to be in the field versus we have telesales now? What are some things that you have had to implement in order to stay successful in this industry for so long? Let me start with Jig, then we'll come back to Rusty.
So yeah, for me, it's just being able to climatize to the different things that happen. So I don't think it's for me, it's anything that's any particular thing that's happening because things happen, whether it's the insurance industry or you move to a different market or, you know, people are too poor and they're saying they don't have the money for the insurance. Well, you have to be creative. You just have to think outside the box.
100%.
Right. So again, the economy's like this, I can't do this, I can't do that. That's just an excuse. You have to find out because the problem needs to be solved. That's why they filled out the card. We just have to
Right.
figure out how to solve that problem. So, the longevity comes with being able to come with the changes. Like I remember I used to love Settlers Life because I don't know if you guys even remember the name. I know Rusty probably does, but Settlers Life, a little company out of Northern Virginia. It's right on the Virginia and Kentucky and I forgot the three states that it borders, but Settlers Life, they were the first company that I knew of that gave someone with COPD day one coverage. They were also friendly with diabetics that were under the age of 40. I used to love them. It was a quick phone call and I'd be done with an application like that and I'd get paid. But they decided to close their doors, you know, having to figure out, all right, now what am I gonna do? That was just to give you an example, that was one of the obstacles. All right, what do I revert to? Now, because that was before the cheat codes that we have with the insurance toolkits and all of the things and that we have now, the technology wasn't available in the days that me and Rusty were doing this, even you, Leo. So just to check rates, you'd have to look at three, four, five different rate books just to do underwriting. I mean, either you're a genius at it, or you'd have a cheat book, or you'd have to be constantly calling your upline. I know with me, I was in middle of Pennsylvania. Some days I wouldn't have service, some days I would. So, it depends where I would be at. I just had to go through that. So again, it's an obstacle. Obstacles are there for us to go through and just figure out, like, if you can't squeeze this through this hole, well, we got to figure out how we're going to reshape this to make it go through. We just got to figure it out. Like when I moved to Florida, I started buying tons of leads, but I don't speak Spanish, not
Mm.
one lick of Spanish. So the two things that I came across was number one, gated communities, and I was a door knocker. Back in PA, back in the final expense game, you get your leads and you're just going out banging and slanging, right? So I was a door knocker. I came down here to Florida and I'd have gate codes. I'd have gatekeepers. Do you know what I mean? I go to someone's door and Miss Maria Velasquez, no English, da, 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 da. I can't do anything. So I'm spending all this money on leads and I just had to figure it out. So again, now there's translators on your apps. Now, you can get a friend to translate for you. There's so many different
Right.
things that you could do. So again, it's just the obstacle. If you want to be in the game long enough, it's either you're looking at life, this is happening for me, or it's happening to me. If it's happening to you, go get a 9 to 5 or a 6 to 12, something that's going to pay you that 10, 12, $15 an hour. Because if you don't have the life is happening for me mentality, sales isn't for you, not just insurance, but anything. That's
Right.
my opinion, right?
Right.
Good.
So pretty
Rusty.
much adapt. Got to be able to adapt.
Right.
I definitely agree. What about you, Rusty?
So
Anything
let me make
different
sure
from
I
what he said?
understand the question. What was the actual question at hand?
In your like from versus when you started to now, what are some of the things that has changed, that you've had to adjust to in order to stay, relevant, well, not relevant, but stay successful in
That
this industry,
that I had to
because
adjust to in order to stay. Well, if it just goes back to that bio that is on my YouTube channel. I mean, I literally tell the story of what life was like back in 03, 04, 05, 06. I was one of the first guys to sell final expense over the phone back in 2005. That prior to
wow,
2005, nobody was selling over the phone. What
yeah,
was that like? What the process? You had to go out and get an actual recording device at Radio Shack. I don't even know if Radio Shack still exists today.
it
You had to get
don't.
one of
I
those
love Radio
devices.
Shack.
You had to get one of those devices, plug it into the
Laptop.
the wall outlet. It would go into that device, and then from there, another cord would go into your landline phone. Then you had to hook it up to a digital recorder. When you're ready to start recording the application, you record on the digital recorder. Go
Mm,
through the recording process. When you're done with that, then you take all the files on your digital recorder, transfer it to your laptop or your desktop device. Once you do that, you got to get your CD burning software, transfer all those files
Mm.
into a CD, burn it onto a CD. It was still paper application, so you had to cross the T's, dot the I's, and all that, put it all together. put the CD on there, list all the names, the last four of their socials, put it in the FedEx, send it off, and that's how you did. That's how we did it back in those days. So anyway, this business has evolved and gotten 10 times easier.
I was about
10
to
times
say.
to where I don't understand. Well, I do understand. I know why people still fail in this business, just like any business this day and age. You want to know why? Because nobody has the work ethic that they claim to be. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. They want to make a six-figure income, but they want to do it on a part-time basis. Another reason is that when people are W-2 employees, they revolve their life around their work. Why? Because they have to. But when people are in charge of their own schedule, when they're their own boss, you know what I tell people? Be careful what you wish for, because now that you got it, people revolve their work around their life. It's completely backwards. And all these distractions get in the way, and I got to do this. And at the end of the day, people really, really underestimate the true amount of time and dedication that it really takes to be a successful business owner. And that's what we are. We are walking, talking, eating, sleeping, breathing billboards, and you should never keep yourself a secret. And then when you're done working for the day, then you should be working for the day. That's where you got to do things offline, and product knowledge, market knowledge, sales tips, techniques, development. I mean, it's a 1-year commitment when you're starting off in a brand new profession. That's why people fail. Other than that, when I started, we were using paper maps in 2003.
I remember that.
I was scheduling appointments. I was not much of a door knocker because I wanted to work as smart as I could. And we didn't have Google Voice. So one of the tips that I picked up along the way throughout the years when you're out there in the field is when you're door knocking a lead and they're not there, not just leave a delivery notice, but have a Google Voice account set up and put your Google Voice number on there. And for the contact person, right, fulfillment center, and they don't call your phone, they're going to call the Google Voice to where it's going to go into an outgoing message saying, if you're calling in regards to a delivery notice, please leave your name, your reference number, and the best day and time to redeliver your package. We will make every effort to redeliver your package on the date and the time that you specified. Please note that you must be present to sign for your package. And so instead of answering the phone, they're basically telling you when to show back up. And that's working smarter. We didn't have that back in 03 and 04 and 05 and 06. We didn't have that technology. So, I'm in Kansas City, or I'm in Chicago, or I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere, rural parts of Missouri and Illinois. And I got this big ass map in front of me that I'm trying to figure out where I'm going, driving away, where we got GPSs on our freaking phone. We got route apps, road warrior, in route, where you can plug in 30, 40 of them, and you can go from point A to point B to point C in the shortest, quickest amount of time. We have insurance toolkits. We have systems, to Jake's point right here, that where you just plug in all the data and then in a matter of 30 seconds, this is going to be our best option. Click, and then now you're starting to fill out the application literally in a matter of seconds. I could go on, guys, and tell you.
Rusty.
20 years ago, we had to walk up here both ways.
Like a history book. You're like a history book.
He has been through it.
Let me ask you, Rusty. I'm assuming you have an agency now, right? You have your own.
Yeah, I've always had an agency, and one more thing, and I don't know if you caught this, Sonia, when I filled out the audition form. That's what I'm calling it.
Is that what it felt like?
It kind of is like, hey, tell me the story. Well, maybe we'll select you to be on my show. So anyway, on the current agency production, it was, it's a lower number by design. I have restarted new agencies from scratch 3 different times in my career, from 0 to 200,000, 3 times in less than a year. My record is from 0 to 178,000 in 9 months, and that was back in 2013. But when I went independent, a couple of months after I lost my mother, this was last year. This is my story, and it was through the loss of my mother is where that kicked me in the butt. When you think about purpose-driven life, you think about legacy, you look at somebody like your mother, who I've got profound love and respect, and I am the person I am today because of the parents that I have. And when you go through the last days of somebody who's near and dear to your heart, and you think about what all they've accomplished, and the type of lifestyle that they live and the legacy that they're leaving, that's what really kicked me in the ass to make the move and say, you know what, you can do better for people, Rusty. Quit living in fear and walk in faith and live that purpose driven life. And that's why I went independent after all these years of being in a captive setting. Here's my point. When I left, I had to rebuild everything because I didn't want to be partnered with this FFL. Say, I'm MFL. I'm this IMO. I want to be the IMO. And I want to create a platform to where agents have to try to fail. So since I left and resigned from Senior Life, all the way up until about 2.5 months ago, I haven't tried to recruit one person. Why? Because when you recruit somebody, you better make sure that you have all the tools, the resources, and a solid platform, the knowledge and mentorship to give people what they need in order to succeed. Now, what they do with all that is up to them, but it's your responsibility to make sure, just like a child, make sure that they have all the ingredients that they need to survive and make in this world. It's no different when you're recruiting. It's not a numbers thing. So that's why I didn't start building until 2 months ago, to where I had everything in place. The leads figured out. Now we're self-generating our leads. We've got Advisor Resources, which is an internal agent website. That's a part of my website's password. We had to build that out. So I had to stop, because you know what? At the end of the day, this business is not about you. It's about people.
That's
and
right.
as long as the old Zig Ziglar thing, as long as you go out and you help enough people get what's important to them, and eventually you will get what's important to you. And that's just the philosophy that I live by. What goes around.
We asked Jig this question the first time he came, and I Jig, you don't mind I ask him, right? Because I know we got you as an audience member, but I gotta ask him this, because this guy sounds like he's been working in insurance when we used to deliver it by like horse. He's been through it all.
He had a horse and carriage.
All right, well, it was fun, guys. I gotta go.
A lead was a smoke signal. I don't know. This guy got some history on him. So let me ask you. You've been doing this for a while. God knows.
I was a fan up until then. Anyway,
listen, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but what's your end game?
What's that?
What's your end game? When is it over? What do you do? How do you retire? What's your end game? I'm curious. What is the end game for you? Because, man, Jake had to get up to hear this one. What's your end game, boss?
I don't know if there really is an end game. And then when you hit certain milestones or achieve certain goals, you should be raising that bar. Always stay thirsty, never get complacent. So I don't know if there is an end game at this moment, but I will tell you that my vision is to be the top and the most premier elite life insurance. Yes, life. I'm keeping that in one category that exists out there in the nation. What was I going to say to that? There was one I just lost that had a senior moment there.
But that's for a while.
Yeah.
So you I know you said you was with Senior Life. So last year, I know you said you went independent in May. You have your own IMO. You are your own IMO.
Correct. I've got some partnerships with certain IMOs affiliates like Quility on the business to business side, and partnered them strategically so I can have access to all of their technology.
Gotcha.
You want to talk about innovation? They have it. Some through digital, but then I also have carriers that I'm direct to as well.
Right.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think that, having options and having multiple partnerships makes sense at this moment, at least for me.
Right.
Because you never know who's going to have a better way or a better tool or a better system that, your agents and you could really benefit from. So,
that's right.
Just to be married to one entity, period, and really limit yourself in that regard. I think that you're doing yourself and your agents and your clients a disservice for that. So keep an open mind, keep your options open.
So what? So now you said you don't really have a end game. So like, what does it look like when you're gonna write forever, or what does retirement look like for you? Do you have ownership with these companies, or how are you able to pass this down to your family? What's your end game, and what does it look like for your agents?
Well, right now, I'm not focused on the end game as much as I am making sure that we continue this positive, strong momentum that we have. And we have a lot of strong momentum. So instead of thinking about the end game, it's thinking about what's coming next and taking this one stage, one step at a time versus constantly focusing on the finish line. And right
Okay.
now, like today, for an example, we hired 10 new agents just today alone. Today. 88 out of the 10 of those are unlicensed. So putting them through the licensing process, getting them plugged into Excel, continue to work on building out advisor resources, continuing to perfect a solid onboarding and training and development platform for people. That's what I'm really focused on right now versus more so the end game.
Okay. Okay. So Quility, I'm not familiar with Quility. How
They're
long
the
they've been
business to
around?
business side of Symmetry. Everybody knows who Symmetry is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Symmetry,
So
you're
they
on the
don't.
field side. We're on the business to business. So we're like a McDonald's to the Symmetry pockets, so to
Okay.
speak, to
So
where we can utilize any tool, any resource. Whether we have one contract or all of our contracts through them, we have access on the business to business side. And so that's why I have limited
okay.
partnerships through them.
So if so with Quility, well, okay, with Symmetry, because that's pretty much who they're leveraging, or Quility is leveraging Symmetry, correct? And you're leveraging them. So with if an agent does want to add on or leave, what does that look like?
If an
Like, do they
agent
hold them? Like, do they hold them or do they release the carriers? I know that's a big thing in the industry. People, when they want to pivot or move somewhere else or add on somewhere else, are they able to do that?
You're talking if there's an agent on the Symmetry side wanting to come on board with my organization, is that what you're asking?
Or with you and want to go outside? Like, I know you brought up FFL. Like, let's say they with Symmetry or Quility and
Well,
they want to.
so yeah, I think I understand. So if somebody's
Okay.
with me currently and they want to release, I have no problems with that. I go against the grain of this industry. If you don't want to be partnered with me, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Good luck to you, and I'm going to wish you well. Um, I've learned this more in recent than in the past, to where I I am now a big believer in just don't burn your bridges with anybody.
Of
You
course.
should not, even your worst enemy, don't burn your bridge with them because you just never know.
Right.
You never
Right.
know when you're going to partner with them again, when you're going to see them again, when you might need them, they might need you. The longer that we stay in this business, the smaller this world becomes.
Mm,
So
So they're
uh,
difficult. They're difficult to get. Like, so let's talk about Quility. So Quility, they're really difficult to get releases from. You can probably get them because you would be the direct upline. But I've had a personal nightmare getting releases. I've even tried to communicate with Brian Pope. He doesn't even respond. Like, I mean, he's above the thing, so it's above his pay grade, right? I get it, but I can't get with anybody that will give me an actual response. I mean, I've got a guy that he has to write with Royal Neighbors, and that's where his contract's at. He's been wanting to align it with me for like the last year and a half now. We can't get hold of anyone to sign the release on just that one contract. That's just one person. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same kind of situation for everyone, but I personally had a nightmare trying to deal with anyone from there.
yeah, so I'm not. I mean, I don't have supreme knowledge on Quility and their corporate office team and their staff. I know that everybody that I have worked with in this past year have been a class act. Um, red carpet treatment. It's just been a good experience. But here's what I'm going to tell you, Jake, is that I'm a believer that, like with Lincoln Heritage, I think they're a first class organization with a C-rated product. They're still stuck in the 90s, but I think the company as a whole is an amazing company. I really do. So
I
when you hear
agree.
people who have a bad experience with Lincoln, they're not talking about Lincoln. They're talking about one particular manager that did things a certain way, the wrong way. Bad leadership, bad management. That doesn't mean Lincoln is a bad company. That just means that
Industry
you just got a bad
original.
apple. So if you go to a McDonald's and you have a person that's checking you out and they're rude, or they don't care, they're on their phone, You're not going to say, man, McDonald's is stupid. You're not going to look at the whole entire organization because of that one bad experience when you're talking about millions of employees and a home office staff. That just means you just had a bad experience with that one bad employee. So with Quility, I don't know. I don't know your story. I don't know your challenges. I don't know your experience,
Right.
but I don't think that, I don't think that people should, unless it's from the top, and there are certain
Yeah.
policies and procedures that a company operates that we don't agree with, that's a different story. But when we have personal grievances and
I'm sorry, we just had a comment. She said one thing Jig is going to do is call folks out. Oh, that was funny.
jog.
She,
Jog.
she correct. She corrected herself. So
There
we
you
put
all
note on
right.
that.
Yeah, Jiggy getting jiggy with it.
Jig drops names with no
Man, I
problem.
tell you, they,
Drop bombs, bro. I mean,
But yeah,
Rusty,
so
no,
he don't
no. I
hold
mean,
back.
but I've had, I have had an issue. I mean, it's been like I messaged the person on my Facebook page because we're Facebook friends. Like, hey, this is the owner of the IMO. Let me just go right to the horse's head. And then he's seen it because you can see that they seen it, but then no response.
yeah,
So,
so let me ask you this, Rusty. Most of your agents that you build, I know you said you just started, building like 2 months ago. Um, are you recruiting more agents that's already licensed, or are you recruiting agents that are kind of where they're not licensed and they don't really know much about the industry?
Well, I'll take both. I think the ones who are licensed, well, whether they're licensed or they're not, one of the things that you need to protect, if this is important to you, which really makes or breaks any organization, it's called culture. And all it takes is one bad apple can
Hmm.
really just ruin an organization and the culture that you build. So I think that, when you look at companies like Lincoln Heritage and Senior Life and where they're at, it's because they're really good at recruiting. And that's
A
why
lot of
Ron and
places
Dale
are.
Powell, they had the largest prior. I mean, when they left, I think they were doing somewhere around like 2.5 million in '99. And Golden Memorial, who's now doing about 5 million, they were doing like 500,000 back in those days, right?
Hmm.
And then they left and they started the Senior Life thing, and now look at where Senior Life is doing today. Is that because they have an amazing product? No. Is it because their leads are amazing? No. It's because they are really good at recruiting. And I would tell you, Senior Life has a really, really amazing marketing team. If you're on the outside looking in and you didn't know anything different about the Senior Life Insurance Company, and you see all these different ads and podcasts and promos and all the hoopla, you're thinking, man, that's where I need to be. I need to be with that company. And once you start
There's a lot
peeling
of
back,
that.
once you start peeling back the layers, and you got a real good inside view. After a couple of months, you start learning, holy crap, this is
Right.
it's
But
what.
yeah, so I know you said you take, license, both licensed and
Yeah,
unlicensed. Which
personally,
one?
honestly, with me, with unlicensed people who have limited knowledge or no experience at all, the way I like to explain it is you are a blank canvas and I am the Picasso, and I'm going to be able to paint and sculpt you in the way that I want you. And I can't be successful unless you're successful. There's another crazy concept that most people just don't get. And so the people that you bring on board, unless they're a part time, I want to match your effort. But the people that we bring on board who are full time career agents, period, then I'm going to invest my most important asset, my most important commodity into those people. That's my time.
Right.
Because if I
So
make sure that, go ahead.
what does the culture look like for you? Like, and what are you offering them that's different from, the rest?
Well, for one, love and support. Make sure that they get that support, that communication. You need me. Look, when you're with a client, especially, and you have a question, you need assistance. Most of life insurance is a one call closed business. And the moment you hang up that phone, and the moment you walk out that door, and you didn't complete the application because you weren't able to figure it out, your chances of getting that person back on the phone or getting back in the door decreases by over 90%. I understand that. And that one victory or loss could really maybe make or break or determine, that agent's success in this industry. Every app matters. Every agent matters. No agent left behind. So when what we one of the things that I pride myself on is I am here for you every step of the way. Like today, I've said this 5 times today. So Logan established an open line of communication as of now. Anytime you have questions, concerns, you need assistance, call me, text me, email, just make sure you reach out to me. I do not punch a clock. I don't work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. This is always on. I always keep it on silent. So I don't care if it's Wednesday, 8 o'clock at night. I don't care if it's a Sunday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't give me this, well, I didn't want to bother you, and I know you're busy, and you're probably with your kids. Look, this is what I signed up for. You reach out to me. If I find out Monday that you had a question you needed me for, and it was pressing, but you went ahead and waited till Monday because you didn't want to bother me, then we're
Right.
starting off on the wrong foot right now. That is what I'm here for. I work for you. You don't work for me.
Right.
Did he
So
just
let
say
me ask
that?
you this. I know a lot of
I just said that.
that's
That's what I tell my agents. I work for
that's
you. You
facts.
don't work for me. I'm not your boss. I'm your
Right.
business partner. That's what
That's
I
right.
am.
We're partners. So I know a lot of the questions revert back. You revert back to Senior Life and Lincoln Heritage. So which style do you think you implement more in your, in the structure of your agency that you have? Like, what leadership style do you think is better or more effective between Senior Life and Lincoln Heritage? Or do you do something completely different from what you
Well,
were
I think
accustomed
I
to?
think we all take something from any IMO, and I believe that Jig could actually also attest to that. Every IMO we ever worked with, we find good things, we take it, and then we strip it down. And so,
Right.
Right.
not that in this
So which
business,
one? I want to know which one is better. Just one quick answer. Senior Life or Lincoln Heritage? If you could pick one, which one do you
Howells
like?
or London's, that's where you're
Well,
going.
I'll give you my answer all day, and I hate doing this because like I said, I'm still in good graces with the Powell family, and a lot of great,
Oh,
amazing people in the Senior Life organization. But I think that Lincoln, in terms of support and resources and communication and consistency, and people at the home office knowing what the hell's going on, and they know their job very, very well, Lincoln all day.
Ooh,
okay.
on that,
Oh,
on that
love
note,
the
on that
Powells.
note,
Look, we got one for Lincoln.
you're one of the only people we know that actually work with both and actually gone through this weird transition that I never heard of.
Right.
Um, which pay through system do you go with?
Which pay through system do I go with?
Yeah, which
Oh
one
my
would be
God!
your
Now
favorite?
that is that we need to schedule a whole nother show for this topic right
Come
here.
on, pay
Okay,
through or
we'll do that.
TMD?
The
No, 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 no.
painful
Because
resistance.
look, I tell you, God, I really hate saying this in a public forum.
Give it to me,
Senior
You
Life,
baby.
won't.
Senior
They're
Life's
not gonna watch it.
pay through system is a joke.
It's a daylight robbery.
This guy said it again.
In bright
Daylight
daylight, right?
robbery.
Dude, oh golly, yeah, you're opening Pandora's box right here. I have a huge issue. I still till this day don't know how or why they're able to get away with the way that system's set up.
Illegal. Yeah, should be
Yeah,
illegal.
that's a no-brainer. I'm going to go with the Lincoln pay-through system. One man in the Senior Life home office basically dictates the whole pay-through system. And if something, God forbid, ever happened to that gentleman, I don't know. I don't know how Senior Life would be able to survive and figure it out. It would be a hot mess.
Is
And
his
anytime that
initials
there's
E and J? Hold on. Is his initials E and J?
EM.
EM. I
Say
think
the
so, yeah.
name.
Yeah, so
I don't
if
have a
it's
drink, but
who
I
I'm
might just.
thinking of, something could happen because he's a bigger fella too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So things could happen, and that's terrible if he's the only one that dictates it because
He,
I sent him at
Oh,
least 10 to
we
12
got
emails
and you
trying to
never hear
find
back from him,
out.
do you?
we got a
Never.
name in the
Never.
comment.
Never.
Eric Mitchell.
Oh!
Yeah. Oh my
On the bottom
God.
of it while we're trying to figure it out. Eric Mitchell, if
So
you're
so
watching,
I
come
didn't
on
say
the show
it.
and let's clear it
I
up.
didn't say
so
nothing.
so neither did I. But nah, man, I sent this gentleman message after message after email after email after voicemail. Man, can you please call me back or send me some kind of explanation? Man, crickets. And it was a way of just keeping my business. You know what I mean?
There is no transparency on the pay-through
No,
side.
no, man. It was disgusting. Like I've got clients that's still there, they're getting paid, and I feel terrible. But man, it was like, all right, well, that was a parting gift. Thousands of dollars, but it was a parting gift, you know?
Sorry.
Look at the bottom of the screen. It's just, oh my God, you
Eric
guys
Mitchell doesn't
killing me.
reply to you.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. I need some water. I need water.
Look, I can type 73 words per minute. Don't play with me. I can type fast. All
That's
right,
too
everybody
funny.
This is
I'll take
classic,
it off.
right?
Okay.
Who's controlling? Who's
Shout
controlling
out
all
to
this?
StreamYard.
You
Shout
and
out to
I.
StreamYard.
I
And
really didn't
shout
think I
out
was
to
going to have
Coach,
this
man.
much fun. I knew I was going to have fun, but I didn't know it was going to be to
This was
this level.
very,
Hey,
very
Rusty,
informative.
we're gonna give you the same treatment we gave Jig. You got to come back.
Absolutely, man.
I mean,
Definitely.
you got too much history for an hour. I mean, you could be a freaking lifetime special with the story you got. I'm saying you didn't.
Look, I mean, he said his short bio was 57 minutes long.
He
So
said that was a short bio. You still
he said
got
I
a
did a brief bio, and I'm like, 57, that's a whole hour. But I understand, putting your whole life story in 1 hour is great.
You
But that's not a
crazy?
short bio.
People used to put in leads when he used to get leads. It used to take a week, and that was fresh. That was,
That's what I was about to say. Like, how much time? Like, you're talking about, 20 years ago versus today, when we can submit an app in 15, 20 minutes and get paid $1,000,
you can get a
where
lead in
you
3
had to.
seconds.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, average.
Look,
You have to talk to a little bit.
I've been at this so long that we had the original direct mail cards that they sent in. Not even a scanned image. No, we had the freaking card.
I think
With,
those are
like,
the same ones
I
they
think
sold
the
me
ink
3
was
years
still
ago.
wet by the time we got the card in our
They
hands.
sold me dead people. Like, I think I probably
Oh
got the
no.
scanned in forms that you had the originals of back in the day. Oh my
Oh,
God, talking about age lead.
I got
oh.
But
hard cards somewhere.
We got to bring Rusty back. Sonya,
Definitely.
But can I tell
Hey.
this? It kind of piggybacks off of the whole card thing that I think most all the audience is really going to
Uh-oh.
appreciate this.
Jig
Hold
got
that
some
thought,
paper.
hold that thought, Jake,
Hold on
because
one
I'll have a
second.
senior
Go
moment,
ahead.
I'll forget it. When I started in this industry, I started on a 60% contract level, free leads,
Wow.
right? The first batch of leads that I got in my $8,000 week, I got about 30 or 40 of them. I know for a fact that they have passed through at least a dozen different other insurance agents' hands because, again, it was the original card. So, you would see about
Is that a
10
checkbook?
different. So say this is the card. You'd have about 10 different styles of handwriting with 10 different colors of ink, and the card itself was all shoddy and torn and whatnot. But it didn't matter to me because it was an opportunity. I was new, I was young, I was hungry, I was fresh, and I went out there and I just freaking knocked on the doors, see the people, activity, and that's it. And I wrote or I submitted over $8,000 worth of premium. My very first paycheck was $3,500 on a 60% contract working leads that were probably about 2 to 3 years old.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
story for you. When there's a will, there's a way, guys. It doesn't take a lead to make a sale. It just requires sheer determination, and a will to just go out there and freaking get it done. Don't wait for people to call you. Don't wait for magic to fall in your lap. Go out there, make it happen. It's a contact sport.
Right. What receipts you got up there, Jig?
I was actually just looking because I used to buy hard card leads. Like I used to get the originals sent right to me.
Okay.
So I got bunch of those. But while I was looking for those, I found some statements from 2016 senior life commission
Oh, senior
statements.
life?
Oh man, I got
No.
pages. No response though. So those are just in the
He said, no response.
no response. So no response on it. Oh, doesn't reply to emails.
It's been noted. Eric
He
Mitchell
sure doesn't.
reply to emails.
Anyone that wants to know what's going on with their pay-throughs and how things work, ask the man that doesn't reply to emails at the
Yeah.
There
bottom.
you have it. And that is what's in your life, guys. In your
I'll
life.
tell you the one of the worst feelings you can ever have as a manager is
Or
when
agent.
your downline is expecting their a pay through or their very first pay through, And the very next day, when everybody else got it, they wake up and there's nothing in their account. And they're what
And you have
else?
to explain it.
And then you have to explain it, but you can't explain what you don't know because there's no automatic T&V report that's sent to you.
Do you know why? Do you know why, Rusty? Because Eric Mitchell, what doesn't he do? Hit him. Hit him.
Hold on, 1 second. There we go.
And
Hit him.
and these people who are ready to quit because they're expecting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to be deposited in their account, and the next day it's nothing. And I've experienced that as well. And let me tell you, it's a sick feeling to have. And so you want to get an answer, you want to get a response for your agent right away, but it's going to be weeks before you ever get to any kind of a resolution because
Eric Mitchell doesn't reply to emails. We got to get a t-shirt made.
And the thing is, listen though.
There you go.
So no, the crazy part is I don't know any upline that can really explain with real knowledge why. I've got all kind of things. This block of business.
If anybody's watching or knows anybody in senior life, there's an upline that can actually come up here and explain this. We're willing to have you.
I can explain it. I
want to be on the show.
I understand. I know those commissions.
You're always welcome.
The back of my hand. Yeah. I can explain. I can have a commission statement. I'll be able to make heads and tails and explain to you guys how those work. But I tell you, here's another. I'm gonna drop another bomb for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Another really sickening thing with those commission statements when people know how to read those and how it works is when you've been with the company for more than a year. Let's say you've been doing it for 2 years, and you're looking in the earned column where you're expecting to see your renewals, and you see clients premium, and then as far as your renewal, there's nothing there.
Bro.
Because Senior Life has a hold on. Senior Life back from when I came back as an RVP in 2016. From 2016 till about 2020, I think is when it was. They lowered it from 72% to 65%, which means there's a 13th month persistency rule that if your 13th month persistency, now it's 65%, but if it's below 65% for that month, 12 months ago, then you don't get any renewals for the rest of
it used to be 72.5%.
It used to be 72.5%. That's correct.
Man, that used to kill me.
Yeah, and how many people do you think out of one solid year, how many months do you think that persistency fell below 72.5%?
At least half of them.
A lot.
Yeah, at least half of them.
More than half. Yeah.
So what's the deal with like the no chargebacks? Like how do they say that? Because that's like complete.
The chargebacks are deferred. So what they do is if you want to defer your chargeback, then you take a lower advance, a 60% advance, which is about a 7-month advance. Okay. So it's
6 months.
It's a 7-month advance. It's 60% advance. 6 months, it's 50%. 7
They
months
just
is
changed
60%.
it though, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. So you're
They
on a
also
60%.
charge more.
You're a 60% lower advance, but if you have a chargeback, then it's deferred and it's taken off the back end. So when you're a brand new agent and you're in your 4th month, your 5th month, your 6th month, every time you get your monthly commission statement, you're going to see a negative balance of like 2,000, negative 3,000, negative 4,000, because until you get to that 8th month, it's growing, but it's growing in the wrong direction. It's creating a bigger hole, bigger hole, bigger hole, bigger hole, because none of the policies have been on the books long enough to start paying the pay through the back end. So on the 8th month to the 9th month, the pendulum should start to shift to where when you get your monthly commission statement, you should see that number start to shrink. So by the time you get to the 13th month, you're out of the red and into the green. By rule of thumb, 80-20, that's the way it should work. But it's really hard to do when more than half of your policies that issue are going to be a modified or a guaranteed issue because of their underwriting. But when you're on the independent side, 90% of the policies you write are going to be an immediate benefit versus a day. And so it's, I don't care how many gadgets and gizmos you put on a legacy assurance or everlasting legacy. I don't care how much you want to try to polish a turd. It's still a turd. And what people don't remember, they don't remember all the details of the caskets and concierge and wish team. They don't remember that. All they remember is how much they have, and that's challenging, and
How
how
much
much
they
you're
pay.
paying. And then when
So
the
look.
next agent comes back behind you
Hmm.
and they say, hey, I can double your amount of coverage, cut the rate in half, and put it into a day one benefit, all that everlasting legacy stuff goes down the
Out
toilet.
the window.
Mhm.
So look, so that setup, as far as like what you just described, how does that affect the upline with the no chargeback system thingy, where it can
Oh,
run
I
up?
tell you what, if you haven't been around the block for a while or long enough to understand how to protect yourself, I have seen sub managers on the Lincoln side, especially when another gentleman took over the state of Missouri with the initials MR.
Oh, who is that? Who's MR with Lincoln Heritage? I'm asking my viewers. Somebody might want to drop that
Marty
name.
Rawson
Oh, he dropped it.
Oh,
out of
Okay.
El Dorado, Arkansas. He came on board and took over the state of Missouri in 2013. And he was all about, hey, let's recruit, let's recruit, let's recruit. And if you want some leads, we'll advance you the leads. There was no criteria that
yeah.
had to be met. There was no new vetting process. And let me see what a presentation looks like. Let me see if you're ready for leads. It was, hey, you want to come on board? Okay, you want some leads? Here you go. And what was happening is all these people were getting contracted with Lincoln, and these managers were, here's 40 leads. Oh, you didn't write that much business. Here's another 40 leads. Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't write that. Here's another 40 leads. And we see this lead debt literally in 3 weeks go from zero to over $2,500. And then they were maxed out to where the company wouldn't be able to advance leads anymore. Agents would eventually, well, I can't make money. I ain't got no more leads. And then you go on to the next opportunity.
Rolls up.
All of that eventually rolls up to where in 1 month, the summer of 2013, I saw this climax that it was a volcano that finally erupted. And I personally witnessed 6 sub managers of mine had $30,000 to $40,000 worth of lead debt rolled up to them. And it was later that year is when I relocated on the Illinois side. And to me, I required some sort of requirements that needed to be met before I'm going to advance or front you leads. I got to make sure you're a full-time agent. I'm not going to advance leads to a part-time guy. No.
Credit check.
You too, you got to give me a passing presentation. I got to make sure that you know what the hell you're doing when you're working this lead. Here, schedule an appointment, knock on my door, pretend that you're knocking on my door. I want to see your approach. And then once you're in the door, I want to see your presentation. I want to make sure that, that I think that you have the ability to take these leads that I'm going to front you, because if you don't sell them, guess what? I'm going to have to eat them, right? So I would protect myself. And I also, if I could share my screen, which I can't, I put together a lead advance policy that gave the criteria of what it took in order to have leads advanced and to remain on this lead advance policy. And then I had them to sign it. So it was my legal documentation that when they fell off the books, when they went and pursued something different and they had $1,000 lead balance, I had that document signed that CYA protected me, and I could take it to small claims court if I wanted to and prevent that debt from being rolled, or at least hold them legally accountable for it. But see, that was something I did on my own terms, because I
Smart
saw,
man.
the other side of what can happen if you're not smart about fronting leads to people. It's a
Right.
privilege to have leads
It
advanced.
is.
It's not a
It is.
requirement.
And that's what, and I don't want to open up a whole nother topic, but that's where I feel like LOAs come into play and can be a protection when you're building that way. Because it is so easy to roll up debt and it's hard to control it when all these carriers are just sending money, sending money, sending money. And a lot of people think that's a bad thing, but when you're building and you're trying to get other people to build, because the very reason why people are afraid to build is because of that. They're afraid of getting burned by chargebacks. And so, but that's next week's topic. And I'll have my first female guest on next week because y'all
Yeah,
guys been y'all been showing up.
Rusty looks like he's ready to answer it now, but we're not going to let him.
There's only one thing I want to say to the LOA. And I think that, if you're going to offer LOA type of contracts and opportunities for people, make sure they understand both sides of the coin. Because if you're an LOA and you're on a much, much lower contract, We all know there's no
Not true.
renewals. It's a one check system. You know,
No.
what's that?
It depends on the structure. They can be
It does.
structured differently.
Well, it does depend on the structure. Yeah, it's carrier specific. It's contract specific. But more
Hmm.
times than not, if anybody's on a contract level lower than 70%, I'm not saying all across the board, exceptions to
Right.
every rule, but
The most
there's
common.
not going to be any passive income. After that policy crosses over the 12-month threshold, that's it when you're on an LOA system for the most part. Okay.
Okay.
For the most part. For the most part, that's how those plans. So I had an agent that I literally hired today, and he's already completed the contracting process. But he got his license 2 weeks ago, and he's like, so what? How does the compensation work? You know, you're saying high renewal or free lead contract. So I literally shared my screen on Zoom, and I gave him, you know, a breakdown of both sides, what the free lead contract looks like, and how the compensation works, and on the high renewal contract and how the compensation works and the difference between free. There is no such thing as a free lead. You're paying for your
Right.
lead.
You're gonna
You're
pay
just
for it
paying for it
somewhere.
on the low end, you know, and you still have to perform. Even if you're on a free lead contract, look, somebody, any company or agency sends you 20 leads. If you don't perform and you don't convert, guess what? They're not going to get, well, here's another 20 leads. No, you got to somehow get your return on investment. What is it? The price per lead, PPL. You got to make sure that your
Right.
PPL really should be somewhere around 150 or north of that in order for agencies like us to be able to justify, here's another 20 leads. Okay, here's another 20 leads. You have to have a certain amount of production based on so many leads that you're sending. And if not, well, you need to go out there and find a way to write another app. Before I send you
Right.
20 more leads, you know, right now we're behind. So whether you're on a
Right.
high renewal contract, a high contract where you pay for your own leads, or a free lead system, it doesn't matter because you still got to sell. And if you don't sell, you're not
Exactly.
going to be in this business for very much longer.
And that's facts. That's facts. Yeah, we have went. Well, I don't really set a time. I just know a lot of people are ADD and they don't pay attention for too long. And we're at an hour and 17 minutes. This has been good. You know, like I can keep going. I ain't got nowhere else to go. I ain't got
Yeah.
nothing else to do tonight. I could keep going. Let me see. Mark
We'll just
says,
invite Jake is always welcome, and we will invite Rusty back anytime. Agency to earn their comp and
I
leaders
agree.
to earn
leaders need to
their
earn their
spread.
spread. I, I love that in a nutshell. That is exactly right. Starting agents off on low comps just so you can get a spread
Marco, my boy,
is
Marco
crazy.
Torelli, him and I, we got history too, right, Marco?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you got history with everyone.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
Everyone.
was selling policies back when I was riding horseback. You know, way
Old
before
people
cars or the
jokes.
Model T came around. Yeah, I mean, shit. I
Yeah.
used to walk to my appointments because we didn't even have horses back in the day.
They have horses.
Dinosaurs, man. Shit. Sorry about the language, guys.
Don't worry
You
about
look,
it.
you are
I don't
fine.
know censored, but yeah, we definitely got to invite Rusty back, and we're gonna bring him for
Yes.
some other hot topics. He seems to be a wealth of knowledge, just like Jig.
Well, any last words, Jig?
Always good to see you guys. I don't have anything. I mean, happy Friday. Have a great rest of your, you know what? It's the beginning of the month. Let's make this month really pop. You know, if you're having difficulty, reach out to anyone that's here. We're all making it happen.
That's right. That's right. And we all have wonderful opportunities. I think there was a lot of great information tonight, but I think my biggest takeaway was that you doesn't reply to email. So if you are with Senior Life and you have proof otherwise, please, please email me at jointheroundtable@gmail.com. Okay.
Don't reply to the
My closing
emails.
remarks is this: 10x, guys. The way that you want to make sure that failure is not an option is to 10x your activity. I'm taking a page right out of Grant Cardone's book. 10x your
Yeah.
activity. That is the most important thing. You got to work your absolute face off. So work your absolute face off, guys. Go out there, do what's right for people. You cannot go wrong by doing what's right for people. And make sure you go to find Rusty Westfall YouTube, and there's a lot of burrito content on there as well. And if you go to my Facebook page and you go to albums, I've got a burrito collection where I got a collage of all the burritos that I consumed in the past couple of
I
years.
tell you what, Rusty, you make sure you comment your links underneath the live, and I'll share them on the YouTube page, under the comments too, so people can know how to find you. And if any of you have anything to post like that, put it under there. And y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you all for rocking it out with us tonight. I know we went long, but this was very informative.
I
I
think
will be chopping it up, sharing some shorter videos. So always feel free to reach out to any of us. We're
Thank
very
you for having me.
approachable, and we're here to help others in this industry. Because it's
Absolutely.
all about longevity, y'all. Thank
100%.
you, guys.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend.
Leo.
Thank you, Sonia. Leonardo, it was fun. It was real
it was
fun. Put
fun. It was
together. It was
fun,
real
man.
fun.
I'll be in
Even though
touch.
you threw me under the bus with the prehistoric times, it's all good. I love you anyway. Thank you, guys. It was an honor.
Hey, good to
Thank you,
see you
Rusty.
all.
Good to see you too, Jig. Next
Bye bye.
time.